When people discuss the greatest players in the world, the names of Messi, Ronaldo, Haaland and Mbappe tend to garner the most airtime. And here all across England you'll find pubs filled with people debating the Premier League's best players, and the likes of Kane, De Bruyne and Van Dijk are never far from people's lips. But we at Football Daily believe that 29-year-old Mo Salah, playing his 5th season of Premier League football, deserves to be in the discussion for both arguments. Just this month, the Egyptian managed to notch his 100th Premier League goal on his 161st appearance, a record bettered only by Shearer, Kane, Aguero and Henry in the division's 29-year history. Having been central to Liverpool's re-establishment as one of England and Europe's biggest clubs, today on FD Explained we put forward the case that Mo Salah is in fact the Premier League's greatest ever winger. Firstly, the Premier League has been blessed with brilliant wingers over the years. From John Barnes and David Ginola in the early days, to talents such as David Beckham, Robert Pires and Marc Overmars at the turn of the century, we were spoilt for choice. But in order to condense this video into a manageable length, we've decided to compare 4 players: Ryan Giggs, Cristiano Ronaldo, Eden Hazard and Mo Salah, all of which we believe have a credible claim to being the Premier League's greatest wideman ever. 3 of our 4 candidates played their football in the modern era, in which iterations of 4-3-3 have proven the most popular. It is therefore difficult to compare the numbers of Ryan Giggs, a traditional winger who played the majority of his football on the left of a 4-4-2, with Salah, a wide forward who has worked as part of an attacking trident, featuring a deep-lying centre forward. Some will argue that Salah isn't even a winger, but while he's adept at getting into great positions to take shots in central areas, as his shot map for 2020-21 on Understat shows, his heat map for the same season on SofaScore exemplifies that he still spends the majority of his time in winger-like areas. So, having made clear that Salah can be classified as a winger, it's now time to put them up against each other. We will be comparing our 4 candidates in 4 main categories: team impact, numbers, trophies and longevity. It's worth remembering that many in the English media were sceptical about Mo Salah's potential impact at Liverpool when he signed for an initial £36.5 million in June 2017. With the memories of a forgettable 19-game stint at Chelsea under Jose Mourinho still fresh in the mind, who had landed the Egyptian amongst interest from the Reds, many believed he would struggle when he finally arrived in the Northwest. What they hadn't factored in though was across his 2 years in Rome, the right winger had contributed 29 goals and 17 assists, helping the Giallorossi to 3rd place in 2015-16 and 2nd in 2016-17 with 87 points, the best tally in their history. Salah arrived full of confidence and duly hit the ground running, scoring 4 goals in his first 6 games. But it's important to note that unlike Giggs, Ronaldo and Hazard, he didn't arrive at a team at the peak of their powers. The 2016-17 season, Liverpool's first full campaign under Klopp, had seen the club finish 4th, 17 points behind champions Chelsea. Whilst their energetic, all-out attacking style had seen them score 4 or more goals on 7 occasions, they lacked consistency and defensive solidity, with defeats against the likes of Burnley, Swansea, Hull and Crystal Palace preventing them from ever truly entering the title race. Fast forward 4 years and Salah has helped re-establish Liverpool as one of the biggest clubs not only in England, with 4 consecutive top 4 finishes, something the club hadn't achieved since 2009, but also in Europe, with their 2 Champions League finals more than any other side in that time. In terms of his rivals, it would be unfair to compare the impact on the team of Mo Salah, who signed as a 25-year-old with 51 appearances in European competition to his name, with Ryan Giggs, who broke onto the scene as a 17-year-old in 1991, fresh from the academy. But in fairness to the Welsh Flower, United did improve considerably in 91-92, his first full season with the club in which he played 51 games, 38 of which coming in the old First Division. Having finished 2nd in Sir Alex Ferguson's first full season in charge in 1987-88, United had slipped to 11th, 13th and then 6th in the 3 seasons prior to Giggs' breakout campaign. With players like Hughes, Pallister, Ince, Irwin and Schmeichel signed across the previous 2 seasons, Ferguson was building the bedrock of the side that would dominate the 90s. And it wasn't long before Giggs was one of the key players, with his 21 goals and 12 assists across 92-93 and 93-94, proving vital to Ferguson landing his first English titles. Similarly to Giggs, Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't out of his teens by the time he first appeared for Man United. He arrived into a side featuring the likes of Giggs, Neville, Ferdinand Keane, Scholes and Van Nistelrooy, who had won 5 of the previous 6 Premier League titles. After an inconsistent and at times frustrating start, his impact was spectacular, but he arrived into a team and squad used to winning. The same could be said for Eden Hazard. Although Chelsea had been fortunate to win the Champions League the season prior to his arrival, He was playing alongside Cech, Cole, Lampard, Mata and Torres during his debut season for a club that had finished in the top 2 of the Premier League for 7 of the last 9 years. In terms of transforming a team's fortunes, we believe Salah and Giggs therefore deserve the most credit. One of the clearest arguments in favour of Salah being the greatest ever are his numbers, which are quite simply staggering. The 2017-18 season, his first in English football, saw him score a remarkable 32 league goals, a record for a 38-game season, with just one of those strikes coming from the spot. For context, it took Ryan Giggs 161 Premier League games, Cristiano Ronaldo 120, and Hazard 93 to score the same amount of goals as Mo Salah did in his debut Premier League campaign. And there has been no let-up either. He's won a further Golden Boot and scored at least 20 Premier League goals in 3 of his 4 seasons at the club. A tally Giggs, Ronaldo and Hazard managed once between them in 35 Premier League seasons combined. Salah has scored at least 25 goals in all competitions in 3 of his 4 seasons, something Cristiano Ronaldo managed twice at United and Wayne Rooney the same in 13 years with the Red Devils. He's done it in the biggest games too, with 6 goals and 2 assists against both Man City and Chelsea in 16 matches, 4 goals in 8 games against Man United, and 27 goals in 46 games in the Champions League for Liverpool. His 29 Champions League strikes for both Roma and Liverpool puts him 27th on the all-time list, above the likes of Rivaldo, Suarez, Van Persie and Crespo, and his rate of 0.49 goals per Champions League game is only topped by 21 players in European Cup history. Giggs may have scored just 1 fewer Champions League goal for United, but he has also made 145 appearances in the competition, third in the all-time list behind Messi and Ronaldo, giving him a record of 0.19 goals per game, the lowest of any of the top 50 goalscorers. In terms of Ronaldo, even across his final 3 campaigns at United, which included their 2008 triumph which yielded a Ballon d'Or, he averaged 0.44 goals per game, 0.05 less than Salah, whilst Hazard averaged just 0.26. It's in the Premier League where the difference is most stark however, with Salah's 0.62 goals per game, topping Premier League record goalscorer Alan Shearer's 0.58. In fact, that tally is only bettered by 3 players in Premier League history: Aguero, Kane and Henry. One criticism levelled at Salah is that he is too selfish, but yet he averages 0.22 assists per Premier League match, better than Ronaldo's 0.17, level with Eden Hazard, and only narrowly beaten by Giggs' 0.25, the Premier League record provider. He averages a crazy 0.84 goals and assists per Premier League game, which dwarfs those of Ronaldo, Giggs and Hazard, and is better than Shearer's 0.73 and Kane's 0.8, is level with Aguero, and only bettered by Henry's ridiculous 0.94. Suggesting that forget about greatest ever winger, Salah deserves to be in the conversation for greatest ever player full stop on numbers alone. For final proof of Salah's statistics, take in the fact that since his arrival in the Premier League he's contributed 137 Premier League goals, 24 more than next best Harry Kane in the same period. Of all the criteria for greatness, trophies is probably the most superficial. Harry Kane, Steven Gerrard and Gianfranco Zola are just 3 examples of great players to have never won English football's biggest prize. Salah's personal trophy haul of 1 Premier League title, 1 Champions League, 1 Super Cup and a Club World Cup is dwarfed by Giggs' monumental collection, Ronaldo's 8 at Man United and Hazard's 6, which included 2 league titles. But while Salah has been unfortunate to play in England during the same time as Pep Guardiola's Man City, a team that had beaten Liverpool to the title by a single point and won 8 of the last 12 domestic trophies available, his contribution to the team's success cannot be downplayed. It was the former Basel man who dragged his side to a respectable 3rd place finish last term, rounding off a campaign that saw the Reds lose 5 consecutive home games amidst a horrific injury crisis and a dramatic loss of form of Mane and Firmino. At 29, Salah is highly unlikely to be able to match Ronaldo's 3 Premier League titles or top Hazard's 2. But the individual awards have been plentiful. Twice named African Footballer of the Year and a PFA Player of the Year winner, Salah was frankly robbed to only finish 6th in the 2018 Ballon d'Or, after a season in which he scored 44 goals and assisted 16 in just 52 games. A tally Messi hasn't topped in either of the last 2 seasons. How long do you need to play in the Premier League to be considered a great? Having already played the same amount of campaigns as Luis Suarez and just 1 fewer than Eric Cantona, surely Salah is already in the reckoning. What is perfectly clear is that after tying their captain Henderson down to a new deal alongside Van Dijk, Alisson, Fabinho, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson this summer, extending Salah's stay in the Premier League is now Liverpool's #1 priority. Currently paid £200,000 per week according to The Athletic's James Pearce, Liverpool are looking to extend Salah's time at Anfield until 2025, by which time he'd have played 8 seasons of Premier League football, 1 more than Eden Hazard. The discussions will in all likelihood be long-winded however, with Salah having seen Grealish's £300,000 per week contract at Man City and probably thought, why shouldn't I be earning that? But with James Pearce reporting that the Reds' wage bill has climbed from £310 million to £325 million in the year leading up to May 2020 and 24% in the last 2 years, mainly due to bonus-related payments due to the club's success, the Reds' hierarchy will be keen to keep Salah's contract in line with their pay structure. Whilst it is difficult to compare players in different systems in vastly different eras, we strongly believe that Salah's seismic impact on the Premier League and quite simply astonishing numbers make him the league's greatest ever winger. Disagree? Explain why in the comments below. So guys, that was our FD explained on why Salah is the Premier League's greatest ever winger. That script was written by myself and edited by James Wayne, so any criticism on the script, direct it my way, okay? And if you enjoyed the video, which I hope you very much did, please remember to like it and subscribe to Football Daily with notifications turned on, and I'll catch you next time.